We are beautiful.
I'm beautiful. I am beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
And I am beautiful.
I always felt like I didn't fit the image of the perfect body. And here's why society wants you to think that.
Baby Botox is amazing.
How people move on social media. And I always have to remind people, social media is not real. It's not real. And I have to remind myself that all the time, because even if it's like
so popular with teens, plastic surgeons have coined
how you look is just under like a microscope, and it's just like you're constantly, you know, comparing yourself to these.
And the number of kids getting nip tucks may astound you. In 2017, nearly 230,000 teens had cosmetic procedures. On the rise, teen lip augmentations, breast lifts, fillers, and liposuctions. That's right, kids as young as 13 are getting.
Two daughters. What makes you beautiful and feel feminine has nothing to do with your physical appearance.
It's right.
It's inside.
Beauty has been different in each era of history. In today's era, the most common standard is to have a slim build and a pretty face. Young Native youth have been affected emotionally and physically by these standards. I want to be able to help these young people so that they are not alone in the society of perfection.
My name is Ashana Lansing, and I'm from the Navajo Nation, and I struggle with my Native identity and where I come from. I have questioned my Native American heritage and where I'm from, and didn't like being Native because everyone else was different from me growing up. I wanted a different identity because of all the social norms I had embodied at a young age that made me believe I was not the typical beauty standard.
Beauty identity has been at the root of Native American history, beginning with the assimilation era in the 1800s. Native children were forced to change their traditional culture both physically and mentally by being severely punished. Boarding schools in the 1870s were the only way for Native children to accept the idea of the saying, "Kill the Indian in him, save the man."
We're just dressing up in our regalia, and so being able to dance freely shows our resilience as Native people.
I feel like that kind of sparked more of an interest for me to want to go back home and relearn and regain everything.
They used separation and violence to stamp out the traditions and spirit of Indigenous children and took hundreds of lives, all in the name of assimilation.
There is culture loss and an identity crisis of who you are, where you fit in, and where you may call home. In the past, children were stripped of their culture and family, and they were forced to cut their hair. Today, there are more children having long hair, and it is accepted, but they get bullied for it because they are looking different than their peers.
Do you get bullied for your long hair? What do they do?
They pull my hair. Girls pull my hair.
Do you guys do that too?
No.
How does it make you feel when they pull your hair?
I don't like it.
Who says the mean things to you?
Mostly the boys, and not really the girls. They're the only nice ones to me. But the boys, sometimes they like make fun of other girls and me. They only talk about like other stuff, and like they don't really talk about it because I feel like they have the perfect body, and it's not the same for me.
What do you think the perfect body is to you?
Like skinny in most parts, and like the perfect face shape and everything like that.
They say you like why you have long hair, or you start pulling on they start pulling on my hair.
Yeah.
Or you start saying stuff about my hair. Makes me feel mad, type of thing.
Do you like it, your hair?
It was my skin, whether it was my arms, whether it was my height, even my skin complexion. As far back as I could remember, there was always someone who said something about my physical being, about my physical self, to the point I used to get written about in the bathroom.
Now, when looking back at the past, there were people that still endured these changes within them. You have to look, talk, and act a certain way. These standards change over time. In the 16th century, women would cinch their waist regardless of how their body was structured. The 50s was about being a housewife and looking pretty. The 80s were about looking like Madonna. The 90s and 2000s were about looking like a Victoria's Secret model, tall, skinny, and blonde. Eating disorders were normalized in movies and were talked about in celebrities' daily routines to accomplish a great body. Now, curvy and different body types are accepted, but it's still there. This depends on the next generation and what the new standard might look like in the future. How far are people willing to go to change themselves? Seeing this through the decades is extremely dangerous. What is going to happen next?
It affects millions of people, primarily women across the country. Like herself.
Looking at myself, I don't like the way I look at all.
But she can't turn off the voice inside her head that tells her she's not good enough. Truly sick.
It's still a misperception out there that these are relatively benign sort of disorders, sort of diets gone bad. These are life-threatening, serious illnesses. They have the highest mortality rate of any.
Hey.
I'm not.
This is another
generation where we equate our self-worth and value with literally numerical value that's on a page. So yeah, we see who's getting likes, who's getting followers, and we assume that that's the right path.
There's enough stress on the Navajo reservation to last a lifetime. However, if I am able to move forward, I need to find a balance in the past, present, and future. Rather than trying to maintain society's ideal conception, we need to be able to move forward and find a healthy relationship within ourselves. Because if we look back at everything we endured, we can create a more sustainable future with the next generation, teach them the healthy way, and they will continue down that line.
I really do believe there are a lot of stereotypes. And with that, it definitely ties into cultural appropriation, you know.
This ties into cultural appropriation. There are stereotypes regarding Native Americans. I see these types of different work shown in Santa Fe and on the reservation. Because of different cultures combining culture identity, much traditional artwork is lost. This is evident in mainstream clothing, jewelry, and we see these daily in stores, fashion industry, and the media.
You have this Pocahontas image, and now because you always fantasize about this Pocahontas image, that's going to be, you know, now your idea, and you're going to expose and create a negative approach to how now a Native woman should be. You know, it could get very misconstrued and very toxic fast. And I don't know, I don't think the idea of cultural appropriation is diminishing at all. Self, be your beautiful self, whatever you feel you find beautiful in, whether it's, you know, material, whatever, or whether it's if you're, I don't know, if you're an artist, if you're a singer, if you're a, I don't know, if you work in, you know how to grow things in the field, if you're a jeweler, if you're a weaver, whatever, if you feel beautiful in that space, hone in on it and ride with that. It was placed in your hands for whatever reason. It's so beautiful that we can do that. And I think it takes a strong group of people to do that, especially as our generations evolve. We have to evolve with each generation. And as the world itself changes, and being able to adapt to a certain space and take up space with that, like more power to that idea. And, we can then, exit and, be satisfied with that and continue on to take that next step forward into the next tomorrow, and I love that idea that we can do that. And that's, again, exactly what I want to bring light to as a stylist and, as a model,
I think there's this conception of the ideal beauty embodied in us, but it's more than that. It's more than looks, appearance, and what other people think of you. You just have to have that empowerment to move forward. I know we all are not perfect, but if we try to accept each other regardless of anything, there is more to it. I truly believe we are beautiful. Humans are beautiful. You are beautiful. I'm dedicating this video to my sister, Ashana Lansing. She's beautiful both inside and out, and is always there to make me feel beautiful as well. So here is to you.